Brought to you by Sun West Genetics.
We're hot.
Whoa, we're somewhere.
Are you hot?
Oh, I think we're on the wrong camera here. Oh, wait, we got this. What's up, potheads and political junkies? You're watching Cannabis Culture News Live. Jeremiah, Johnny, and Mr. Cookie here.
Hey.
Over there. Here and over there. And Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody out there.
Happy New Year.
Land. Look at this, Johnny.
Ready?
Oh, what does that mean? You won.
It's in there, enjoying?
I got the strip, but you got the prize.
Ready for it?
What do you got?
If it's My Little Pony, I'm just gonna fucking laugh my head off.
My Little Pony. It's pretty cute.
See that? That's what I got.
It's a teddy bear sticker.
Teddy bear sticker.
That's it?
Oh wait. What do you get from a pampered cow?
I'm gonna say spoiled milk. Yeah, that's all you get. A bad joke and a pretty bad sticker.
I am now the king.
Oh, this Medtainer fell out too. Perfect.
Man.
Oh, nice.
Fuck, what do you mean?
You're the New Year's.
He's
the
like,
Lord
what
of
else
New Year's.
did I get? I got the pimpin' hat.
The King of New Year's.
What'd you guys get for your Christmas?
Yeah, chatters out there. Let us know. We don't actually have a chat open here, but we will.
Chat me up.
Anil is on the boards and on the 1s and 2s and 3s.
Brian's right
Whatever.
here too.
There's a lot of keys there,
Brian's
actually.
doing some stuff. We got some cool stuff going on.
And
today.
David Malmo Levine will be joining us. He says he's stuck behind a train. See you in about 10 minutes. That's the problem with traveling hobo style. You throw your bindle up on the car and see how far it takes you, but yeah. Usually, it comes right down to Waterfront Station, so he's just probably stuck on the track somewhere. Yeah. Eating sardines. Whistling Dixie.
Does that say 2.5 on it?
It says 0.25.
Thank you.
Okay.
I needed to know
Is that
that.
the same thing?
Yeah.
No. That's different than 2.5.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
I wrote on here 2.5, but it's 0.25.
So, Johnny, let me ask you, what is the strange contraption you have here?
Okay, check this out,
What is all
guys.
this weird gear?
Okay. This here, we talked about all of the LP weed we've all gone and bought.
No.
No? We haven't talked about all of that
Never talked about it.
shitty weed
And we will never talk about
that
it.
we're talking about here. Well, the good guys from
We purchased
Bovita.
some. Wasn't very good.
Talking about, boys.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're not going to really talk too much about it, but we are going to talk a little bit about the dry ass weed that we all been purchasing.
Oh, no, we can talk lots about
I think
crappy
that
LP
dry-ass
weed.
weed has something to do with
Yeah,
maybe
don't.
the terpene factor and taste and enjoyability of that. said weed
Go
or
figure,
something
eh?
like that.
Yeah, I wonder why that is. So,
Seemed like there were no trike heads on the plants when we looked at it. There was just no trichome heads. So
you know what? I've actually, now that I've started squishing some of the weed in the very beginning, and then
Yeah.
I stopped because I was getting nowhere with it.
Yeah.
Like nowhere because it was so dry. I'm like, well, how do I know if I can start squishing this without really testing it first?
Right.
So I'm on the phone talking with the guys down in Bovita, down in the U.S., and I'm like, well, how am I able to figure this out? So they get a hold of their QA guy. We're talking back and forth. He goes, well, we can get a water activity machine. I go, what's that? He goes, we can actually test the water, the activity of the water, what's inside of all this cannabis to determine how dry it really is. I said, how? He goes, well, they got these cool meters like this. Now, this meter is actually for government officials to do what? To test cured meats. Okay, so now
To
if
see
you're-
how dry your
to see
beef
how-
jerky is?
Well, to make sure it doesn't have 35% water content, was supposed to be 25 because anything over say 65% water content will cause mold. Certain
Right.
things are going to cause
You get
different
moldy
problems.
jerky.
You're going to get moldy whatever.
Yeah.
So
I've seen that.
I got this for Christmas.
Cookie's seen a lot
this
of
was my
jerky.
Christmas present. This came on December 24th. And of course, first thing I did is go outside and I started testing some weed. And right off the hop, I was like,
There's the chatters.
Royal Can Farm. I was
Hi,
like,
chatters.
Hi, chatters. Good to see you guys. So I jumped on there right away and I was like, hey, let's test this weed because I wanted to smoke it. It just felt so dry.
Mm-hmm.
And right away, the first one I tested was 45%. The second one I tested was 42%. The third one I tested was 46%. At that point, I was like, you know what? Well, there's a video coming out on all this, guys. And you know what? And every couple days on my Instagram, 420 Weed Master, which goes to my Facebook, which I know Jared's going to start sharing too,
Sure.
is I'm going to start testing all of the government weed and determining which one is actually standardizing, what kind of standardization are they really coming up with. So now let's say, what I'm going to do right now is I've actually purchased 5 cannabis products of the same strain from the same company. I'm going to open it all up, and I'm going to test every one. I'm going to open up one, test it. Open up the second one, test it. And in reality, all 5 should be the same, right?
I guess so.
Well, if we're talking
You're
about
the expert.
if we're talking about medicine for patients,
Yeah.
because they have medical cannabis and they have recreational cannabis. So wouldn't you think that the medical cannabis should be standardized in some way, form, or another for patients? But should the rec too? So when we start with, say, moisture content, wouldn't that be a good way of starting to standardize something? Because we know at 62% or 58% or 55%, if it's consistent, we have the same consistency of medicine. Same terpene content.
Same-
Same say medicine because cannabinoids are going to...
If it works for jerky, it should work for cannabis.
So I started testing. And today's test was actually from Weed MD. And it was Sweet Pedro Sativa.
Okay.
It came in at 45% humidity.
Okay.
And when you smoke it, well, I don't really know what to say
Sorry,
about that.
so what is the range you want it to be in for good?
I like smoking between... Brian, what do you like smoking? I say 58%, 56%.
50%, 58
60%.
moisture?
Moisture?
Yeah, lots of
Okay.
essential oils,
Moisture.
lots of that flavors in there. Terpene profiles, just yummin'.
Just yum, and that's really important because I mean, when you get under the 40%, like, and I've done the video, I tested all the different humidity levels from 33% to 40% to 50 to 58. So of course you go to the YouTube channel. Jared's got it on Cannabis Culture. I'm pretty sure my bovine testing is on there at one point or another. But we started testing just
Very
the
well
different
could be.
levels for squishing because that was the biggest thing.
Don't quote
Brian
me on
knows all
anything
about the
today.
squishing because we did the Death of BHO video with
Oh, yeah.
Right in this room, actually.
T-shirt
remember.
press right over there.
Yeah.
We
There you
kind of
go.
moved on from that.
The death
but
of
even
BHO.
back then, we didn't know exactly what humidity
BHO
levels
seems
look
to
at.
still be alive.
Well,
it didn't, it didn't
let me tell you, it's death in my
scared
books.
For a while.
It was- yeah.
kinda scared.
It was BHO was pretty scared for a while, but then they had to come out with all of these like crystals and all
The
and
diamonds.
the diamonds and
and
you guys
south.
had to step it up. But now we're actually making diamonds with rosin.
That's right. It's all
Rosin diamonds.
Fucking right.
How's that done?
Same thing. Pressure and heat.
Pressure makes diamonds.
Diamond. That's
Really? Wow.
I don't know. Let me. It's happening. I just can't.
That
really,
seems magical.
Can't really tell you all about it yet.
Well, look what I got. I got
There's different
some.
ways. What do you got?
I got some Craft Resin Co.
I don't know what
Moby
time it is. Do
Dick
we get 420?
rosin.
412.
Moby Dick rosin.
Can smoke that.
We should.
So you know what?
From Cannabis Culture's Davie Street Dispensary, 1674 Davie Street.
I pulled out the
1674
slinger.
Davie Street. Get
just for
there.
this.
Open 10.
It's
till
still
midnight
open.
every day.
Yeah, that's right. 10 to
10 till
midnight.
Yeah, I saw your Burnaby store. Just
They-
on the,
it's
I
under
noticed that.
threat, though. The government's threatening to close it down. They say they're going to come in, stomp through the place, shutter the doors as of the 31st of January. They're being really rough about the whole thing, so we have to fight now for what we have.
So I mean, I've been really paying attention to that because I was just out in Abbotsford and talking about just say the one line. We call it. I call it a pit lane, but I guess on Clearbrook Ave, between South Fraserway and the freeway, you have about 6 dispensaries. So you have
all unlicensed.
all unlicensed. All
Yeah.
unlicensed. A Little Bud's Randy, he has completely shut down as of today. He stopped selling cannabis on October 17th, and he tried staying open and to selling just accessories.
Yeah.
From glass to pongs, of course, lethal glass, there was med, so everything was there. They sold accessories. But they started realizing that the stores down the street that were selling cannabis and accessories, well, no one was coming to the store.
Right.
So they ended up winding up shutting down. The other place, Studio Green, has changed over to Smokin' Noggin. So they've now changed over to
Smokin' Noggin. I
Smokin'
love
Noggin.
it.
They're
Good
great. They're out of
name.
Kelowna. They're right beside Ross's Gold Store, and they're
Cool.
another basically accessory store. So they're shutting down these stores and putting accessory stores right now. Cannabis Kings is still going strong. So I can't believe the lineup at that place is daily. It's just like It's like this.
You know, a lot of the
Couch Lock is still open.
There's a lot of places
another
still
place
open.
called Get Lit. So you got
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Weeds? There's still
4,
weed
5, 6.
locations?
Well, it's now called Couch Lock. It's never Weed's location changed to Couch Lock. It's been the same location ever since, and it's still been there. Like MedX was Chris. Now he's changed to Get Lit. He's down South Fraser Way, just down the end of Old School Abbotsford. You go down there, checked out. You got Motocan.
Well,
so that's just Abbotsford, and you know what? They're still going strong, and that was yesterday. So.
Unfortunately, because of the loss of this court case that we had, it means a lot of nastiness from the city, and they can go to the province, ask them to press charges against us immediately, find us in contempt of court, really make everybody's lives hell, shutter the buildings. That's really the most important part. And then anybody that goes inside that they catch doing anything would be found in contempt of court and arrested. So.
Well, at that point, once they change the locks, they shut down the building. If you go in there, then you're being charged with basically breaking and entering. It's a whole different. Turns into a federal offense. It's not provincial anymore.
Right.
Well, it's all federal in the
Yeah. No, it is. But that's the danger in this is that not only if they did come and find us in contempt of court, it's most likely that they would also try to find us in contempt of other things. They would try against the Cannabis Act.
There's going to be all kinds of different things. Because that Cannabis Act, and like really. It's a lot of pages, and I'm briefly starting to go through it because I have to understand.
Oh, there's
like
a lot.
We all do, but it's so hard to understand, to really read through all the terminology, because like any kind of paperwork, legal paperwork, it's how you interpret it.
Yeah.
And then
Cannabis Act for Dummies book then.
Well, they should.
Yeah.
Cannabis Act for Dummies. You know what? I guarantee. Let's do that.
Well,
We're gonna make some money.
But what it actually does do is give them the power to do a lot of things that they couldn't do before, including giving massive fines for certain things.
It's all about massive fines, and they can just basically
and like $5 million per vending machine.
They can just come in and seize your product. There is no arrest warrants or nothing. They don't need a warrant. Nothing. They just walk in. Not cops, just like, here's your little ticket, and we're taking everything.
And they can take everything else of yours. They can take if you own anything, they can take that too, including your house, your car, your bank accounts, whatever they want.
Well, Revenue Canada called me this morning and said it would X amount of dollars, and that if I didn't pay them, that they were going to, threaten lawsuit. They can come after, seize my bank accounts. They can do whatever they want. They could take your house.
Yep.
They can basically leave you.
And the question is, for Cannabis Culture, the question is, should we... See, we could stand up and continue to fight, and then essentially our lawyer says it's just a matter of time before they will come.
Shut you down.
Yeah, and it's essentially guaranteed. Now, should we be strategic and close the dispensaries that we have while we can keep our other businesses open in the hopes of trying to make it through the system, and at the same time trying to fight? What we really want is an emergency license for these dispensaries, or some sort of licensing process for the medical marijuana dispensaries in the city, because they're so different than the recreational ones.
This is the biggest thing that Motocan is fighting for. He will not sell recreational weed. He only sells the medical patients, and he feels for the patients, because we've already seen what the licensed producers have done to our patients. They left them hanging.
Yeah, the dispensary did the same thing. They went back to cards again.
Yeah, but I mean, the whole thing is through the legal market. The government let the patients hang dry, and I'm not going to throw people under the bus, but certain companies that we know of, they just failed to save medication for their own patients.
Yeah,
I'm my own family back in Nova Scotia had to switch LPs because that LP ran out of medical cannabis that they were selling on the rec market.
Yeah, man.
So they had to switch LPs. They had to go to an LP out of Ontario instead of out of New Brunswick.
There's a lot of crazy shit going on like that.
So I think it's a 1 minute warning. Because I could just
1 minute.
It's 4:18.
2 minutes.
It's close.
Yeah. Somebody asked what happens to Pot TV if CC gets shut down. Well, if we were to say we were to continue going the way we're going, and they came and arrested us and shut everything down and closed the buildings, we would be in big trouble. I mean, I think Pot TV would go on no matter what, in some shape, form, or fashion.
Pot TV will always live on, but I mean, it's about the building,
it's
about the culture.
Yeah, we have a building.
It's about the staff. It's just not about it's just the whole lifestyle.
We have to. It costs money to make Pot TV. Unfortunately,
it costs money
everything
to keep
costs
a door
money.
open.
Yeah, it costs money to keep the door open, pay the rent, keep the lights on in here.
How many staff
keep
you
the
got?
keep the cameras
staff
rolling.
Party, there's at least 25, 30 people in that picture that run the stores.
Oh yeah,
that work
more.
at the downstairs stores. That
we
work
have
in the lounges.
we have almost 90 staff people.
90 people are going to be out of a paycheck. 1 minute warning.
So,
hi, David.
Hi, David Malma Levine.
How's that train?
The train was slow and cumbersome, and it impeded my path.
David Malma Levine, hobo,
for the 420 sesh.
traveling hobo style.
There's a joint going on.
Rail car. We call him Rail Car Dave.
All you guys, you're all so fancy with your extracts and your high tech. torches. And,
We're looking
Yep.
all from you,
Yes.
Mr. Malmo Levine. You
I'm
know,
just
Little
about-
Tokes was part of the harm reduction
Can we get a shot of
program.
Dave over here?
moderation and rituals. And
There he is.
Jackson's speech was actually just a little bit, was a lot more.
Bamdi.
I believe in moderation. I only smoke one joint at a time. I don't do all that injection.
I believe.
I know.
Oh, you got
You
your
got
joint?
two hands, don't you?
Well,
I believe in. I believe in. I believe on cannabis, and I think 2019 is going to be an
In your
amazing
pocket,
year
maybe.
for legalization and for this plan and for the cannabis community. And on that note, happy 420.
We
Yeah.
got a little Kalman glass here, coming straight out of Oregon.
Oregon. So we're doing a little Calvin glass. And I'm actually hitting the slinger.
Nice.
There you go.
Beautiful.
So you were just saying about how everyone's going to lose their job?
Oh, well, I'm just saying.
Yes, the BC Supreme Court thinks
I didn't say everybody's going to lose their jobs yet. We're still trying to fight. The issue is we're still consulting with our lawyers to try to buy us time. But what our lawyer says is, as of January 31st, the city says they will inform the province that to find us in contempt of court, and that means they will immediately move on the buildings, shutter the buildings, chain them up, and arrest people.
What about a Supreme Court
So-
of Canada appeal?
So we do. So for those who don't know, we had a court case here in Vancouver against their injunctions. The city started handing out $1,000 fines a couple years ago, and then put injunctions on all the dispensaries that they could find. And we fought this court case to try to stop that injunction. The judge put a stay on the injunctions during that court case. So now we can appeal the judge's decision, which was a land use-based decision. He didn't really make a ruling on the constitutional challenge part of the decision. So we actually can appeal it twofold. One, we can appeal the land use decision, and two, we can appeal the other one in the Supreme Court of Canada. Now, the issue is the judge will likely not give a stay again. We can request one, but the lawyers say it's virtually not a no-go. It's a long shot by virtually impossible. He's already given a 2-year stay on this issue, so them doing it again is going to be pretty. I don't know if it's been full 2 years, but it's been a long time. The judge isn't into those kinds of things, but we can still fight it. But it wouldn't stop them from coming and taking the stores out. So it doesn't help us stop enforcement.
Stores open as bring your own bud places.
Well, it's pretty hard to pay the rent that way.
Yeah, I suppose. Hey, even for this place here.
So CCHQ is not under threat because we don't have a dispensary in this building. So any building that we have a dispensary in is under threat.
Well, that was a good idea then. Not
Yeah.
to have one in this building.
Not
be
to have
honest.
one in here.
Well,
yeah.
this is head office. This is ground zero.
Yeah.
This is where we're going to chain ourselves to the building, and you're going to have to take us all down and take down this building.
Can we shutter the most profitable ones and then just keep paying the rent and apply to become legal dealers?
Well, that's what what they're telling us to do is apply for the license and see what happens, see if you get it. But the problem for our dispensaries is their rules disqualify us, all 4 locations, because of being too close to schools, being too close to.
On that basis.
Well, we could challenge the proximity rules, but you can only challenge that through the BOV process, the Board of Variance process, and it's been a virtual non-win for that issue. Okay. They're pretty strict when it comes to those things. There's been a few people who got through on technicalities and other things, but there's no bleeding hearts on the BOV, you could say. So, although
there's no bleeding hearts,
a constitutional challenge on that issue.
That's interesting. That seems like a long shot. The reason that it would be difficult is because the city has a total right to make whatever rules it wants. So there's no real constitutional issue there.
No, they can't be arbitrary, overbroad, or grossly disproportionate.
Well, that is true. They have to fit the charter, too.
I've written an article on this subject called How to Defend Yourself in Court from Semi-Legalization.
It's available on Cannabis Culture right now?
Available right now. I think it's at the top of the blog list.
Yeah.
I recommend everybody who's interested in breaking and challenging these laws read this, because what we're looking at is, are all 3,000 judges in Canada pro-cartel? That's the question.
Right.
Yeah, that is the question.
we can get a ton of attention on that case.
Yeah.
And if you get reporters who are backing you up, that increases the likelihood of not all 3,000 judges in Canada going along with the Trudeau cartel.
Right.
I think if you just start with Trudeau's promises to the cannabis community and the Canadian community when he ran for Prime Minister, he promised us freedom. He promised he'd listen to the stakeholders and the people, the medical cannabis dispensaries. He's promised us dispensaries. You can't just promise us dispensaries.
He promised us
take
weed.
away all of our dispensaries and replace them with all of your dispensaries.
Sadly, it's the same old bullshit from the politicians, and that's why we called the show today New Year, same old bullshit, because have politicians ever kept their promises? It's just this more of the same.
We've got to not settle for Reefer Madness 2.0. We got to not settle for their hard drug model.
Yeah.
We got to keep pushing somehow, educating the public, informing reporters, telling judges that this is not justified in a free and democratic society. We're supposed to be protected from unfair monopolies. And we're supposed to be protected from persecution, from what some people said was forced assimilation, and then got later turned to the Anti-Genocide Treaty of the United Nations. But it's really trying to bring about an end to herbal drug autonomy.
Well, on this issue, we actually went and argued in front of City Council just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
We actually spoke to the mayor's emergency task force on opioid deaths.
Yeah.
So it was a public hearing, people could speak. So myself, Jody, Neil Magnuson, and Cheryl and Haley went and spoke, Haley Rose.
I would have came down.
And we all talked about how cannabis dispensaries reduce opioid deaths, and there's a lot of evidence that shows, and some really big studies that have gone on, and Jody actually provided this information. They save lives in areas where there's cannabis dispensaries, fully functional ones, not just legalization states, but actual fully functional legal dispensaries or dispensaries that are open. It can bring the opioid deaths down by 30% in some areas.
Well, even Philip Lucas's research from Tilray, some of the people there.
Quality soft drugs around people do less hard drugs.
You can watch that video on Pod TV right now. It's we played it on the show, but the mayor wasn't really having any of it, unfortunately. The councilors were okay.
We got to keep going. We can't just stop because we run into interference and resistance.
Well, we haven't.
Powerful people.
I think we've ever stopped.
I know we never should stop. But we got to get more creative with our educational campaigns. We got to focus on what they're trying to say about us. Their whole messaging is basically 80% it'll make kids stupid and crazy, 20% you're going to crash your car. If we win those two battles in the court of public opinion, we can get the soft drug regulations that we deserve, which would include the young and the poor and the non-white. We need soft drug regs, so it's like organic fair trade coffee beans. That's what we need, because that would include everyone. You get everyone off the pot war battlefield, get everyone in a seat at the legalization table.
Well,
everyone can
here's
have
the
a little
whole thing.
rolling tray there.
Well, just so people know, when we did speak to City Council, Adrienne Carr actually got up at the end of the session and asked if she could make a motion or she asked the city staff if it was possible to find some sort of emergency license for the dispensaries that are there now.
Yeah.
So there's some support on City Council for giving the...
Could you turn that into an ad and play it every show on Pod TV?
Well, what we need to do is, but what happened was Sadhu Johnson, the city manager, stood up and told Adrienne Carr why that wasn't possible in this session, because the land rights issue, you have to go through the development permit process, and so they need to have open public hearings to actually make that go through.
They're basically still talking about...
so they should.
So city staff is informing
emergency public hearings on keeping pot dispensaries open for the opioid crisis.
Yes.
They should also have public hearings on making heroin prescription easy instead of next to impossible.
It's called OxyContin. You can get it every day.
No, my friend is a hard drug user, and he's been in an 8-month waiting list to get on their morphine or Dilaudid heroin prescription program. It shouldn't be that hard. It should be go in, get it by demand, and then what happens?
I fully agree.
All the overdose deaths disappear overnight. And what else happens? The CIA doesn't get their murder slush fund, their war slush fund anymore. Those are two huge wins that overshadow any sort of cost to the taxpayer, any sort of hurdle.
There's a lot of people who use cannabis as a substitute for opioids, whether it's the prescription drugs instead of going to the doctor to get for pain medication or for harder stuff from the street. These people are using opioids or cannabis as a substitute for opioids. And guys like Neil Magnuson have a program called the Cannabis Substitution Project, are helping people by giving them cannabis edibles and other things, smokables, and getting them off of other drugs. So and he gets his donations from the dispensaries in town.
And if I remember correctly, if we're going back to even the older days, like in 2006, 7, and 8, when it was with BCCS and Green Cross and then the dispensary, everybody was doing down at the Four Pillars Project talking about opioid reduction using cannabis. We did talks down there
Herb School
at Carnegie
was
Hall.
I mean, I was right there.
I mean, we've talked to everybody, and that was Sam Sullivan back in the days, and that's when we went over to Van Doon, and we had the harm reduction there. We are giving canna caps away to the people, trying to get people off of that, and that's what then Neil, and we've all been doing the same thing. We've been doing this for so long.
Yeah.
When are they going to start waking up and seeing that actually the people that are helping are the ones that are truly in need of the? I don't know how to say that anymore, but.
It's brutal, and so but it's some serious business, and they mean business, and they're not taking no for an answer, seemingly. So we're trying to fight. We'll keep doing it.
The commonality between the opioid crisis and the pot cartel is that they need to destroy human medical autonomy to control us, and we need to advance human medical autonomy to defend us and survive as a species. Unless we have it and we get it, unless we explain it to the public and make sure they understand it and demand it, we're going to die of ecological disaster because industrial hemp will continue to be overregulated, and hemp ethanol cannot compete under those circumstances with fossil fuels and the things destroying the earth. We're going to continue to suffer from over-policing. Any pot dealer who isn't well connected is going to go to jail. Users are going to be forced into treatment. All the young people are going to be forced into treatment. I don't want to leave that world for the next generation to suffer from. I want to get the rest of the job done. I don't want semi-legalization. I'm not even half hard over semi-legalization. I don't want a semi anymore. I want a full, turgid, inclusive, everybody's in legalization. And I want it now, and I just can't figure out how to do the work around this cartel, because right now what's appearing in all the bus shelters in Canada are all these either tweet ads or these insanely patronizing pot should still be somewhat shameful, so everyone continue to hide
it's really
it.
Fucking sad.
I see tweet ads everywhere.
The tweet ads are all over the
everywhere.
place.
That's my next
fucking brutal
topic for Cannabis Culture.
Everywhere.
I'm writing an article about the Reefer Madness 2.0 onslaught on the bus shelter advertisements, because it's insane. Look, if you follow these ads through, they're not looking at the science. None of them look at general population statistics, and that's what you can really start the conversation with. Why are you avoiding the fact that psychosis isn't increasing and IQs aren't dipping despite all this pot use, especially the rapid increase between the 70s and the 90s when it went up from like 10% of the population to 50% of the population that tried it, and up to 30% of the population that used it regularly. You would have seen that go in there. But that's
bullshit.
the lie. That's the big lie that they're crystal knocked.
And they're still using the same method. Yeah. So we have this new form of legalization, but they're still using all the same methods to demonize cannabis. Yeah. And there's a new form of reefer madness now.
Well, we got to use all our media. Anyone who's sympathetic with us, Georgia Strait and all alternative media, and then sympathetic reporters in the corporate press. We need to use them to get our message out. It's not a hard drug, it's a soft drug. We deserve a part of
Johnny's
this economy.
putting his contacts in.
Young people deserve the safety of a safe point of sale and quality control. We need to address harm reduction and human medical autonomy. We're tired of this continued post-legalization persecution.
Yep.
It feels wrong. It feels wrong to me. Intuitively, I feel like if I go along with this, a little part of me is going to die. Well, I don't want that part to die. I want that part to thrive and survive. I want every day to be as free as April 20th where we have a cannabis farmers market. That farmers market should exist in some form every day of the year because all those people deserve jobs and all those people deserve access to
every weekend I go to the flea market or I go to a swap meet, and then 3 or 4 times a year in downtown Abbotsford they have these big farmers markets. Every weekend you get your herbs or your fresh herbs and stuff like that. So hopefully this year we can go down and get fresh clones.
And that's the way we sell off
and
our
that's how we
excess
start
stock.
doing it.
Because they can't stop the pot.
420 will be
They can't
packed with
stop it.
no 420 will be.
We should be handing out plants to everybody.
It'll be
Grow
totally
your own.
packed with weed vendors, the
Just-
same
That's
as it
right.
always
Buy
is.
all your weed for the
but
year.
all they have to do is fence it up and not let us in.
Hey, buy
Oh,
buy your
no, not
buy
gonna
all your
happen.
weed for the year.
Trust me.
On 420. Just shut out the boycott the LPs.
Yeah, you're allowed to have, like,
and keep it in
1,000 pounds
the protected green zone.
Yeah.
The green autonomous zone, the black market's autonomous zone, and then
2.4.
and then that way
2.4.
you can be assured of the quality that pot activists have
0.24.
provided for the last 20, 25 years now.
Yes, and David, are you going to have a booth at 420 to sell your books?
Well, I don't really have enough to sell. I'm going to point people to CC and Weeds GG.ca.
Good.
And keep buying your books from these guys. I'm trying to put together a movie deal because I think this is not only the most beautiful comic book in the history of comic books, and I know comic books because I used to collect them as much now as I collect pot facts today. And back then, I've seen some pretty beautiful books. I've been inspired. My life has changed through a few of the comic books, especially Brought to Light by Alan Moore and Bill Sienkiewicz.
Brought to light.
Brought to Light, great comic book.
Never
Changed
read
my
it.
life. It inspired me to write this
I
comic.
just got Swamp Thing.
Oh,
the-
yeah, Alan Moore is just a god.
Alan
But
Moore's
anyway,
Swamp Thing, yeah.
but also I want to see this information that's in this comic book become common knowledge, not just in Canada, but all over the world. And the way to do that, I think, would be a Netflix series or a Hollywood film
There you go,
called
Netflix.
Amsterdam.
DML and chill.
Here we go.
Dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun.
Hey, how come I don't have one of those?
Sorry, what?
Huh.
Because they're $60 each.
I'll
and
pay
they
for
didn't
it.
give me. Okay, well,
Line up, everyone.
Line up.
I will next week. I'll bring you one,
Okay.
or you could buy one from CC just downstairs.
No, I'd rather
can.
get it from you. Sign it. I've known you my whole life. for
And
so long,
people
so
can buy them.
I
Oh,
haven't personally.
is it? I'm not sure if they're
This
up
one's
on.
spoken for.
No, it's okay.
So
I said yeah.
Buy
yeah.
one downstairs, and then I'll sign that one.
No, I'll have it from you.
Okay.
I'll get you.
Well, I don't have enough to sell. I just
get
have
it from
enough to give to the people who participated in making
I'm
these.
not a good listener.
And also the movie Hollywood movie studio executives that I want to impress. Turn this into it should be on a DVD that's available in every video store in every village.
Video
in the
store?
world.
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
Well, like if you
Where?
travel,
They don't have
if
that.
you
What the hell's a
if you
video
go to
store?
Mexico, if you go to Mexico, even the small
Those are
towns.
bootleg DVDs.
Exactly. But,
Yeah.
but what it'll do is it'll provide a language that the whole world can
Blockbuster
speak.
doesn't have any stores
if
left.
you go to
One-
Mexico
one
or
left.
others, if you travel outside Canada, Jer,
Yeah.
you'll find that people don't always have the internet and they don't always have
Right. Apple TVs.
televisions,
Yeah.
but they do have DVD players. And you can buy Hollywood bootlegs of almost everything
Yes.
at a video store in Mexico, even in a town of as small as 50 people, there'll be a video
Yes.
store.
Breaking movies and stuff.
You should just put it on 8-track, Dave.
Well, I think the DVD is
Betamax.
the language that the whole world speaks, and I want to speak that language
Digital
too.
and DVD.
I want to make everyone know that the CIA is the biggest drug pushers in the world and have been for decades. I want everyone to know that. I want everyone to know how to resist persecution by fascistic government and fight for legalization
Fascistic.
in your country. Because I want this not just to be a Canadian phenomenon. I want the whole world to be as free as Vancouver is on April 20th at Sunset Beach. I want the whole world to be that free. Because unless we
That sounds
turn
like
the
a
whole
song.
world into one big Amsterdam farmers market with lots of pot in it, the whole world's going to turn into the Philippines with death squads hunting down the remaining autonomous people. And I don't want to see that happen.
I don't want to see that either.
Okay.
Someone said, Two Joints says movies on vinyl would be wild. I believe that there are movies on vinyl.
Well,
I think.
that was Laserdisc, but it was different.
No, that's a video
they
disc
come
with
in
a
a big
laser.
reel. Like a
really
No, I'm talking about an actual disc, a vinyl disc, just like a record that has the capability of putting video on it, not just audio. But I'm
60%.
I might be maybe I dreamed that,
So
but I'm pretty sure
I'm
that
just-
in my
I'm having
travels
fun over
I
here
came
with you
across
guys. As you're talking, I'm sitting in front of
very
Jer and I'm
little
testing
known device.
weed here. And what I did is I took 2 dry buds
Singing over
this
Johnny's
morning, and one I put
Somebody
Bovida
look it
in,
up.
and one I put MedX 2A. So one was MedX 2A. One
You got
was
the Anarchy
Bovida.
logo on it.
Yeah, whatever.
Nice.
Yeah. You like that? And I'm just having fun here because I want to test just humidity control packs right now. And Bovida brought it up to 60%. And MedX 2A that says 62%. And I'll show you this here.
So 0.6.
Went up to
So what does that
58%.
number mean exactly?
Well, we're looking at water activity, the amount of moisture or water inside our cannabis. So when we know the terpenes are best volatile at like a certain percentage or a certain humidity level.
Which you said is around the 56 to 58.
58 to 60% is what Brian.
So
and
this
we
is
both
good.
concur.
This is
So,
pretty
well,
close.
this is what the humidity control packs have done. Now, what I failed to do was bring the Health Canada weed that I was being testing, and none of it has tested over. I've got 48%, 46%, 45, and 42. And so now we're just talking really about, and even Brian's weed that's just in his jar right over here. Came back up. No humidity control pack, just Brian's Tech, 57%. Nice stuff.
Pretty cool.
Yes.
Open and
Yes.
show. Should we get the camera on?
So pretty much, we're just having fun here because what I'm talking about here is standardization. And when it comes even the rec market or this legal market, they're trying to force upon us. They're still not giving us quality control. When we have rec patients, or not, let's say patients getting cannabis, and let's just say it comes at relative humidity at 45%, they're not getting proper therapy from that cannabis at all because the terpenes aren't as viable. They're not as strong as what we're supposed to be getting to. It's drier, everything. And really, that's what I'm fighting for right now is standardization and freshness for patients, and that's what I'm looking at right now.
Last year's pot.
Oh, the one package that I did test was Royal Pharmacy. I tested the Liberty Haze. It came at a 40% humidity. It was packaged on September 17th into the package. I opened it and tested it the day before. I wonder how long it actually sat in a bin before it was actually packaged. What, a year? So, I mean, how long was this dry-ass weed that I tested? Was dry, and I took pictures of it, and there was really nothing on it. And it really didn't have no smell. But when I grabbed, say, Brian's weed, here, how does it smell?
Make it seem like it's louder than it is.
Oh, damn.
I know, but if you
I
take
see
that
that.
one, if this was 42% humidity or even 45% or even less than the 55%, it would smell differently.
Can I smell?
It would give you a different.
Can we- but
a
just before we do
therapy.
that, can
And
we
this is
show
what
this
I'm really
off?
trying
Put on
to
the smell cam.
talk
Smell-o-vision.
about.
Smell-o-vision.
Is really the humidity levels that need to be inside of the product that they are selling to not just patients, but to all of you in Canada. I mean, shouldn't you demand quality control at some point? We do it with our food. This machine is used to go around and test cured meats and everything else to make sure. This is over $3,000 a water activity machine, David.
I want to get T-shirts made. I want to get T-shirts made for the
yeah.
Lift Expo that
guys
say
go.
LP weed is dry bunk.
All right, so we're gonna stop playing around here, guys. We actually have something here. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Chemi bunk swag. No,
It's
that's
Chemi.
another good
Dave's like,
point.
can I
Yeah.
smell?
The other thing is, so this is this year's weed.
Yeah, like probably like, well, last year's, but yeah.
So I just
That's
did the
the way it
Bovida
is.
one, and it came back at 60%. And this morning, this was really, really dry weed. I took pictures of it and stuff like that. I was just having some fun because I was kind of doing this before I got here. That's what I was trying to talk to you about this morning, Jay.
Oh.
All right, and because a lot of the weed we have out there is just way too dry. So I'm just having fun. I'm just testing 2 different humidity control packs, and I'm actually doing this for the first time with you guys. So I've really had no idea until earlier today. So I just hooked that up there. You can see it'll just kind of go up there now.
0.54. 55.
All right, and that's active water.
That's after the pack.
This is MedX. So this was Bovida, both the same
That's
cannabis.
an X now?
Yeah, well, this is MedX 2A, which is powered by Boost.
Used to be medical, but now it's not.
Well, that's...
No, but what I'm saying is, I always say when it comes to with cannabis and when it comes to 2 humidity control packs, one keeps down cannabis dry and fresh, crispy on the outside, nice and fresh on the inside.
It looks like a pound
And only
sign,
comes
not an
back
X.
around. Well, that's the Med Tanner.
I know.
Bovita said keeps it fresh, which is great for making rosin. I would not be able to make it without this pack. It would be really key.
Degradation over time, regardless of what the.
Well, here's the whole thing. So here's another thing. So I only use humidity control packs for when I decide I'm going to use my cannabis for, say, squishing. I'll put it in a day before. I have my jars like Brian without any control packs in it because cannabis has its natural humidor in it, which is the stalk, and it actually releases moisture and takes in moisture. Brian's shaking his head. So I mean, really, in reality, it comes to a point because I can store up to. I store up to like sometimes 6-7 months, and then I'll take it out. And before I squish, it's dry. It's probably about 50%, and I'm not going to squish something at 50%. There's no way. And I really don't want to smoke something at 50% or lower because it's too harsh on my throat, and I'm not getting the proper terpene quality that I'm looking for. So these control packs right now, if I'm going to smoke, I'll use this only a couple days before, and if I'm going to squish, a day before, and if I'm going to store, parchment paper on top of the lid.
There you go. John B, the science guy.
Well, we're just learning here, right? And see and this came up, and a lot of people say that the Medic Suisse comes out around 58%. So I'm seeing it right now. It was just at 57 and down to 56. So we're seeing just how this whole thing works with humidity control packs, and actually seeing how all this LP weed is actually coming in all under the radar. It's all too dry, and it's all. It's actually
when you look at
you're being ripped off. You're the guys who want to being.
It's really it's been sitting around in plastic containers for months.
And then even that package day. Look at the package day, and then how long was it sitting in the package before it gets shipped and tossed around? So
Some of these
not good
companies have
shit.
license
Terrible
to produce
stuff.
for about
how those
3
sprays
years
on the
now.
throat.
Yeah, and the sprays too.
Yeah, you know what? I bought some weed from Ready Can Pharma, and I opened up on it. It was one big bud for an eighth, and I squished it. I smoked it, did the dab, and I want to have it tested. And I want to talk to you about it, Brian. I was trying to spit it out. It was burning the back of my throat so bad. So
man, see,
what
this
are
is
they
why
spraying on there?
everybody should get.
Also,
they have a lot of stuff.
Some of them still irradiate, and they have to tell you if they are irradiated or not.
Yeah.
But none of them should because
No, they don't have to tell you, but some of them do tell you.
Are you saying it can sell you irradiated cannabis and not have to tell you at all? Are you
Absolutely.
sure about
They
that?
just say that it passed
100%.
everything or whatever.
Yeah.
Like a vault. Also, they could have
That was fun.
required LP Cannabis to post their testing publicly, but they didn't. Why? Why can't we have a transparent? If it's so
Because they
important,
don't
why is it-
actually test until after there's an issue.
Right.
Like Tweed and stuff. Has
Well, the
like
Medix 2A came in at
recalls after the
56%,
fact, So
yeah.
it's not like they test it before.
And the
selling
Bovida
it.
was
They
at
test
60.
it after there's an issue, and then they're
when
like,
there's someone who's complaining.
yeah.
Well, I don't trust the system, quite frankly, because has anyone here seen a movie called The Corporation?
Yes.
It's a really good film, Canadian
Love it.
documentary.
Yeah, I love it.
It shows that corporations are pathologically focused on the bottom line against all other considerations.
Well, they have to be by
Or
law.
They'll have to be because they have legal obligations to their stockholders.
Right.
And two, they'll be replaced with one that does if they don't.
Right.
So
a public corporation has rules in it that say your bottom line has to be your end goal.
That's right.
And you can't use the corporation for anything else. A private corporation has more leniency. It's not as harsh.
Limited company
But then
is a limited
this
company.
That movie is talking about public corporations.
this movie also
Yeah.
provides a track record of these billion-dollar corporations, like Bayer or Canopy or
Yeah.
Monsanto or
The
anyone
nasty
who's,
things they do.
salivating at the thought of controlling and owning most or all of the pot market.
Yeah.
And what you're going to have there is people cutting corners on fertilizers, on pesticides, on drying and storage, on shelf life, on all the on terpene numbers, on everything,
Cutting
except
corners
for profit.
Yeah.
And what we have with the pot community is people who are concerned with setting a good example for the rest of the world to follow. The profit was important, but it wasn't the primary goal.
I think
of
there'll be
activists.
everything though. It's going to be like the wine industry or the cigar industry or whatever. There'll be
It
the
is
connoisseurs
the
market too,
marijuana. It is
and
total
there'll be a craft market as well. And people will do it the right way, but it's going to cost you.
Well, look,
And that's what it's going to be,
the
right?
wine
You're going to
industry-
pay hell of a lot more for it.
Currently, right
It's going to
now,
be like the Apple products of weed.
the wine industry would be an improvement on the current system because I can grow as many effing grapes in my backyard as I want to,
Yeah.
and I can make my own hooch by going down to one of these make-your-own-hooch stores.
Yeah.
And you don't have to
Okay, well, here.
fill out a bunch of forms, jump through a bunch of hoops,
Yeah.
and you don't have to have age limits and
Here's the whole thing, David.
all sorts of
let's talk
craziness.
about this right now. And as you're saying this, so every household can grow 4 plants, and I grew 4
No.
plants.
I can't grow floor plants because my landlord hates pot.
Yep.
And then
Not in an apartment.
anybody who
Only if you
is
own your house.
in a strata or who rents is at the whim of their landlord. And most landlords are like, why should I bother with the house?
How many people in Vancouver
the
own their
smell?
own homes?
Yeah.
You really can't. And I'm gonna just take that. And that's sorry to say. That's sad to say too. That a lot of people don't own their own homes or don't live in rural areas where they're allowed to grow their own. And this is going to be
legalization
a
for
major
the
playing
rich.
factor.
If you don't own your own home, you're effed.
And somebody in
F and F hole.
the chat, Olden Days is saying, Freddie, he was told personally by tweet that it was law that they have to irradiate. I wonder if it's true. They don't
You know, I
have
was
to.
told that they don't have to.
They do
Back
if the
when they-
micro levels are higher than what they're supposed to be,
And-
so then they blast them down.
Right.
When
Yeah,
they
they have to
first
keep the levels down, so they incentivize irradiating it, but they don't make you do that.
At the beginning, when PPS first was the only
Prairie plant, yes.
at the very beginning, they was
Yeah.
a requirement.
That was before this system, but that was when there was only one LP.
and
And
yeah,
they learned that from Bedrocan in Europe or whatever, because that's what they
Man.
all their
I bought
weeds
some of that weed. I
irradiated.
still have some of that irradiated weed in a package. I still have original Health Canada seeds from 2006 in the bag. It comes
golden
in that
bag.
gold tinfoil bag.
Yeah, I had that
Sealed
golden
up.
bag
I got the
too.
number on it, everything. Yeah, I bought. I'm officially allowed to grow Health Canada weed. I have licensed Health Canada weed.
if you go to potfacts.ca, you can read the report by Canadians for Safe Access, which actually compared and tested the PPS weed with Vicks organic cannabis, and they found it was heavy in metals, heavy in microbes, and it was irradiated to kill the microbes. And the organic cannabis was low in metals, low in microbes, and wasn't irradiated. So already, the only head-to-head LP to dispensary taste test, and the dispensaries came out cleaner, safer, and less and more effective, quite frankly, because it had a full terpene spectrum. So we need to expose the LP's quality control scam
Yes.
for what it is, and a lot of that information is available potfacts.ca.
There you go. And now,
Lots of these guys, these LPs maybe use the cop out of like, oh, we're bound by these microbe levels. And I say, well, fight to get those fucking raised up, because if you look at the microbe level of a
I wanna
strawberry,
ask
it's
all
gonna be
the
100 more
LPs
times than they have on this marijuana. So like, get with the program here. Like, fight for your
And
rights,
anybody
guys.
else
have
who's
organic
buying rec
standards.
weed,
That
why don't
too.
you go and
Yeah,
ask your
it's a
licensed
produce
producer,
product.
why is all the cannabis so fucking dry? Because I've heard nothing but complaints all across Canada from every licensed producer, whoever is selling it, whoever's buying from any LP, from patients, it's all too dry. So is there some kind of Health Canada regulation saying that it has to be this dry? I'm curious.
not dry, but
but I mean, it's like
no,
I bet you,
probably
I
not.
don't know. I toasted some Broken Coast this morning, and it was at 52%, so it was the highest.
They're probably more scared of mold than they are of
Yeah, so they do the-
quality
But it
control
had
Right.
complaints.
But as Cookie said, strawberries have more microbes on them, and all produce products.
smoking
This is
a
a produce product that
strawberry,
grows
but
in the
still.
dirt.
Yeah.
It's gonna have microbes on
horseshit.
it. Yeah, or shit.
Come on, I
and
used horse shit for that stuff back in
it's
the day.
allowed to have produce products when you go to the grocery store. If you imagine they had 0 microbe counts on those, they'd be insane.
everything would fail.
There
You
wouldn't
wouldn't
be
eat
a
anything.
produce department.
Microbes aren't nothing to be excited about smoking, but all the cures they suggest
Right.
are worse. And the one that works the best with the lowest microbe counts is just organic standards, organic growing standards.
Yeah.
And you get low microbe counts, and you have low metal counts, and you get the highest quality cannabis. That's what we want.
Yep.
If you're really worried about it, just make hash, smoke that instead, and in the process, you're probably going to destroy any of the little hitchhikers that you might find on your pot there.
Yes. A little creepy.
I'm counting down
creepy
for Jer
friends,
here in my head.
creepy crawly friends.
42 seconds. You got 10
All right.
seconds.
We just got to make it inclusive. We got to make
He's
it
just
so
gonna
that
go hot.
there.
He's gonna do it anyway, so I'm just trying to slow him down.
When
because-
now?
Slow down here.
Jesus,
Take
dabbing
about
takes
20% off
forever.
over there.
Why does
Yeah.
dabbing take so long?
Well, you know what? It's a process. Okay, Dab.
Because again, we forgot to set up the entropy nail from entropy nail.
You know that would be nice, but I prefer. I put away the sublimator, even though I'm a sublimator warrior.
It's like a poser shirt now. He's just
And,
like, yeah, I'd put that away.
And
So
I
wore
put
the
away the
shirt
D
today.
now. And I'm just
Has a
back
D-nail
on the good
sticker on his
old-fashioned
Pelican.
banger and pipe, man. Because you know why? I don't need to have that thing on 24/7. When I want a nice dab, I count it down. Don't put it on the glass. Put it back on the dabber, and you put my Thank you.
Oh
very much.
shit!
Jesus,
This guy. Holy moly!
I know. Well, 8 for 1. You
Gotta have my
when you
rig-
have
my
when
rig
you have really
coaster,
nice
man.
glass, well, the whole thing is a scratching glass. So glass, you scratch the bottom of your glass.
It's his
stuff
rig
like
coaster.
that. So it's my rig coaster.
He's selling them now.
No.
No, he's not.
Medtainer
He's
brand.
just a member.
No. This is just one actually that we picked this one up on.
Yes.
Full dab rig back.
Oh shit!
It matches the good old slinger. There you go. And next time we'll bring the drop down for it, and I got that.
So Piper Courtney from the Georgia Straight just sent me a text message here with a presser from the city today about the first 3 locations approved for cannabis retail business licenses here in Vancouver.
Yeah, one opens tomorrow.
Yeah, one opens tomorrow. That's Evergreen
Yeah, what's
on
the
West
second one?
4th. The second one is, it used to be Van City Weed, but now it's called City Green or City something.
On Main
City-
and Broadway.
City Weed.
Shady Weed. And where's the other one?
So, I don't know where the third one is. I haven't seen
And they're
this.
selling provincial pot.
Evergreen Cannabis is at 2868 West 4th.
Yeah, I'll be there tomorrow. So because of all that dry ass weed that they're selling, I'll be giving away free humidity control packs. So when you come out, you can actually go and actually get some real experience from your weed and not.
Only selling
No, the other two are both called City Cannabis Co. at 610 Robson Street and 7289 Fraser Street.
When are they opening?
LP stuff for sale?
I don't know when they're open.
Yeah, it's only LP weed.
It's only
LP
Only
weed.
LP weed.
LP weed. And of course, there's
This
a
is
lot
what's
of,
gonna shut
but
down
there's a
all
lot
the
of
dispensaries in
shortages of
that
LP weed. There's not enough LP weed to sell.
Yeah, they're out.
And so, and actually, one of the stores that Vancouver licensed to open was supposed to open over the holidays, but apparently they couldn't get their product from the government.
Didn't have any.
Because of I'm not sure if it was because of bad
Mail service.
mail service and also holiday.
service in
The
Richmond,
government,
drive it
it's
over.
all BCGEU, so it shuts down for the holidays. Nobody works on any of this, so they're like,
off, yeah.
20 days, exactly. The whole month of 3 months off for Christmas. Yeah, paid vacation. But
not
Anil,
consumer oriented.
maybe throw the video on about the cannabis shortages because it's a new year, but the same old shortages.
For licensed retail cannabis stores continues to stagger along. The promise was that stores would be up and running by April with a view to putting a big dent in the black market for pot.
News.
Yeah, that was the wrong video. We're going to throw the right one on. It's the one about...
It is actually.
no, not that one. That's the same
My
one.
dad bought me a gram in Ontario when it first became legal for Christmas. So I was like, "Oh, this is stoked." So he didn't really open the box; he just kind of looked in. So when he gave it to me, I opened it and I was like, "Oh shit, this is fucking legal weed." I was like, "This is kind of awesome." I'm like, "Thanks a lot." So I open it up and I pull it out. He was like, "Oh, it's just 1 gram. Is that a lot?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's enough. You know,
Yeah.
it's enough for you to buy."
Brian's like,
Yeah.
I
So I
burped
open
that.
it up and show him, and he's like, "Well, why do they have all this packaging?" And it came in like a big box or whatever
Yeah.
for like a little thing, and
Oh
he
my
was just
God.
like,
Yeah, $40 worth of packaging for a $10 gram.
I know, a metal
And express
package.
post shipping, which
They
was
literally
like
have a metal box.
Oh, the metal box is insane. Okay, and
What the
for
fuck
one,
is that?
I can't get in my metal box. Brian had to break into my metal box.
Yeah, the metal box is
Yeah.
impossible to get
and
into.
I actually talked to the guys from Namaste, and I went down there because I was at their office in White Rock, and I still can't get into the container. We've all
get
tried.
into their office either.
and you know what he said? Yeah, we've had some places. Some people can't get in the containers. I'm like, what are you guys gonna do about that? Like, can I return it?
Give him my number.
Because I still cannot get in the container. You actually have to. You can
Get out the axe.
It's more than child resistant. The Royal Farm one, the one that has a child resistant lock. I opened it and I went to lock it back up. It won't seal.
No,
So
it's
now
faulty,
stuck
is
open.
what it is. It's
they're
fucking faulty. Yeah,
It's a
'cause
100%
I had one that
faulty.
wouldn't.
Cut corners on quality
The
of packaging.
packaging sucks.
It's terrible.
Like when you go to that random.
Shit.
And if
Just
it's
get
not,
them.
if it's not that crazy big plastic or metal ones, it's like a
just saying,
a
sorry,
thin
guys,
plastic
but-
envelope that smells like plastic and it's
They
weird.
did everything wrong.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah,
I offered Medtainers, but they don't like them.
I like Medtainers.
Everybody else does, but
XL.
They should.
David likes Medtainers.
They should make them come in a Medtainer. That would. Why can't
Well,
you
you
just
know-
put all the labels and shit on them?
Well, so first they said that it was
smell like
it
weed
was
for a while. Hey,
huh?
all the complaint about the smell of weed. It's a flower.
Okay, so the next one, make it out of hemp or make it biodegradable. That would be fun.
I'm breathing in radioactive secondhand tobacco smoke here. You got your meat cut and roasted over this way. You got your ethnic foods there. And the whole world is filled with smells. And they're complaining about the flowers.
Cannabis is obviously a powerful substance, so powerful that they feel they have to go to all these great lengths to keep it from us.
It causes hysteria in people who've never tried
does.
it.
It's weird. Yeah.
I think it's the scapegoat du jour. It goes witches, Jews, perverts, potheads in a cycle.
Yeah.
And then they switch back to whichever one has.
Well, most of them, they're all kind of one and the same in some senses.
Sometimes there's overlap.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is they go after certain characteristics of humanity that can be easily demonized, and parental hysteria can be brought in. They're going after your children. The Jews, the witches, the perverts, and the potheads are threatening your young children. And unless we round them up and take away all their property and steal their economy away from them, they'll harm your children. And this is going on for centuries. We got to stop it. We got to not only end the drug war, we got to end scapegoating itself.
Good luck with that one.
Well, what else is there to do on this little ball as we fly through space?
That's
really,
true.
We should create a society that's worthy of the name society for our children and our children.
We seem to be.
5-year-old now. I'm a daddy.
We seem to be
5-year-old?
drastically failing at that, though.
Congratulations.
I adopted a 5-year-old boy.
Look at the president of the United States.
I'm his daddy now. I want to look into his eyes and say, hey, you got something to look forward to. You got a world that you don't have to fear. Or at least you got some hope. So it's not good enough to settle for the semi-legalization, this captive market that Trudeau's promised his boys, his golfing buddies. We need the full legalization for everyone. Legalization for all. That's what we need.
Yeah.
And we can't stop fighting until we get it. And we got to continue being disobedient, because obeying these laws is like a little soul death. It's like knuckling under. If they shut down some operations, we got to open up others. If they shut our voices in some ways, we got to find new ways to get our message out. It's just.
I agree.
Yeah, you have to pick the mic.
All right. Okay. Basically, did you get any of that?
I hope so. That torch is pretty loud.
Okay. Well, listen. Just keep your heads held high. Keep fighting.
They can read your lips
Keep educating.
under that beard.
Keep educating. Because, it was lies that started this war. It'll be the truth that ends it.
And so, David, you have your book with you.
My book, yeah. So,
Tell
if
us
you want to
about
know
this.
all about the truth.
Give us the lowdown on
This
Amsterdam
is
Comics.
About 1/4 CIA drug smuggling history.
Show them the side of that.
3/4. What?
It's the
over 100 pages.
Show them how
There's
thick that
420
thing is.
No, there's 420 pages, and there's over 100 pages.
Show
on
them how
CIA
thick
drug.
it is, David.
I'll show you how thick it is. Look at that's how thick it is. It is 420 pages. It is full color. And let me open up some of the pages while have you had a chance to look at it at all?
I've looked at it only just a
Jumbo
brief
size.
leafing through.
Well, tell people what you think of it so far.
Well, I think it's absolutely amazing. It's quite a historic piece, drawn by the fantastic Bob High, and also colored by Bob, I believe, or
Colored
also
by Bob.
colored by
I
Bob.
started coloring after this project was done, but I did the art touch-ups for this.
Yeah,
But Bob did all the major.
you're going really fast. Show him a page or two, and just
Okay,
like
so
actually
here,
show him.
I'll show. Okay,
He's
this
looking for a
is
good one.
A raid on the Herb School, 2008, February 28th
Lame.
or
You
something.
got the
like
weight
that.
on.
This is
11:30 a.m.
how the Skull and Bones group were the biggest drug smugglers in the 1800s, and they created the CIA.
Right. Not only does Dave get into what happened down here on the block for all these years, he gets into what's been going on with the CIA and I guess what you'd call the precursor to the CIA,
Yeah, well,
or their like training ground at Yale University.
that's right. It's a fraternity that Bush Sr., Bush Jr., John Kerry, William F. Buckley Jr. and a whole bunch of other people.
It's your conspiracy. Every conspiracy theorist nightmare is the tomb, they call it, at Yale University, the Skull and Bones tomb.
This is kind of the reason why we can't shut down the hard drug war, part of the drug war against cocaine and heroin, and just have prescription cocaine and heroin, is because...
But these guys were just dope dealers, though.
Well, no. They were more than dope dealers. They're gun runners, they're drug runners, they're assassins, they organized coups and secret wars. The Nicaraguan war was funded by drug money.
But they did sell a lot of drugs.
Funded by drug money. They were middle guys. They supplied the bikers and the mafias and all the organized criminals, the dangerous organized people. They were the suppliers because they got it into the country. Nobody could stop them. They were part of the military. They had their planes were looked after by the military. This is a huge operation. They were flying in $1 billion worth of cocaine every couple of weeks.
Right, and that went on. And George H.W. Bush was a big cocaine importer.
He was the guy at the center of it all. He started
cocaine hoarder.
He started smuggling drugs for the CIA in the 50s. And by the time he was president of the United States, the operation was so massive, they couldn't stop it. He was told that I wasn't in the loop, is what he said famously, and he got away with it. And in spite of a ton of evidence of him being in that loop, like being born to be in that loop.
Right.
He was a CIA brat who was around 18 years old when the CIA was created, and his father and Robert Lovett and Averell Harriman and these guys, they lived on Jupiter Island, and they were the guys who created the CIA.
Well, must have been before the CIA, because wasn't he in the war when he was 8?
He was in the war, and that was before the CIA.
Yeah, because the CIA was after the Second World War, but it was the OSS before that.
Exactly.
Right.
Hello.
But yeah, it was the same posse. Needless to say. And then, of course, and he was just an extension of the Dulles brothers, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, they were all in business together. The Rockefellers and the Dulleses and the Bushes. Samuel Prescott Bush, which was Prescott Sheldon Bush's father, he was a war profiteer in World War I. And all of these guys, there was Rockefellers and Skull and Bones. All these guys were working together as the Eastern establishment of the United States. Wall Street guys, Brown Brothers, Harriman. And they
Sullivan and Cromwell. They finance wars, and then they make money off those wars, and they engineer wars.
Right. That's basically what they do, including the drug war, which boosts up the profits of drug distributors quite significantly. So yeah, it's all in here. It's also the first 8 chapters of my CIA book are online at cannabisculture.com. If you go and Google George Herbert Walker Bush, biggest drug lord ever. But if you want the whole story in comic book form, there's over 100 pages of it in this comic book, Amsterdam Comics. So it not only teaches how the legalization movement got to where it was, but also how the cocaine and heroin got to your door.
And it centers a lot of the history of the pot movement around this particular block as well.
This block right here features prominently, including the cover. And this is the pot block, the building that we're in right now, broadcasting for Pot TV. This is on the cover of Amsterdam Comics. Yeah, that's the famous pot block. So yeah, and I think that you can't understand legalization in Canada without understanding the history of the pot block and the people who work here. So this is it. This is like my best 420 pages on that topic.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
pretty amazing.
And you can get it for $60. You can get it if you're across Canada, you can order it online at cannabisculture.com and weedsgg.ca. That's weedsgg.ca.
That's right.
Someone just said in the chat that it wasn't on the website. So there you guys
well, you have to ask for it by sending them a little message because they haven't got it up on the website
We
yet.
have it up on Cannabis Culture now, I think, on cannabisculturehq.com. But I might be wrong about that. If not, I'll flick the switch this weekend.
Call somebody and tell them
but it will be
at Weeds or at Cannabis Culture that you want a copy of Amsterdam
We do
Comics.
sell it here at the store.
And you will be pleased. For $60, it's a lot of comic book.
Yeah. It's
awesome.
It's a masterpiece, David.
Everybody's stuff.
It's a masterpiece. It's absolutely wonderful.
It's not half bad.
It's pretty damn amazing.
Give people an idea of how they can legalize drugs in their country too. Because all this information here, it works wherever you go. Cops have Rodney Kingophobia. They do not want to be caught on film using force without justification. And you can get your own cannabis farmers market if you just keep your heads held high and resist their tyrannical drug laws with nonviolent arrest resistance tactics. And it's all, Hug Power is all explained in here in great detail.
There you go.
Kind of failed on July 1st when Neil got pulled away from us. But.
Oh, they didn't shut down the farmers market, did they? No. And they dropped the charges on the people who obstruct Neil. And I'm not sure if Neil suffered any adverse consequences.
Yeah,
of
we
selling
haven't heard
pot.
the details back from that yet. I don't know. Is it still ongoing right now?
It's ongoing.
It's still ongoing or something?
But anyway, I think if the goal is to keep the farmers markets rocking, then we succeeded. If the goal is to avoid all charges,
Speaking of,
There he is. Speaking of.
Hey, yeah, Neil.
Neil, we were
are you
just talking
still
about it.
being
Neil.
persecuted for selling pot on July 1st, 2015?
Charges dropped.
Charges are
So
dropped.
there it is.
There it is.
There it is.
Right.
Right from the mouth. There we
Waited
go.
until after 2 years so you couldn't sue.
yeah,
Sneaky
Ah,
motherfuckers.
that's what
right.
it is, eh?
No.
Neil
They
tried
know.
to sue.
Hey, that kind of
Because-
makes sense now because the way that the mine.
Yeah, Neil suffered severe brain damage.
Trauma.
More trauma.
Sorry,
General
just teasing.
trauma.
He was okay.
I can read that.
He's pretty much all there. Yeah, so there's another video. Yeah, we do have another one. This one is about this is the first one.
We haven't run that one yet.
Which one? Oh yeah, the
first
one.
video.
It's the one that we
First one, and then we'll go back to you.
we haven't actually run the first one yet. Like we haven't run either video.
No.
Okay, so all right, watch this. Fun.
It may be a new year, but where legal cannabis is concerned, the shortage of product looks a lot like last year. Demand still exceeds the supply. CTV's Heidi Petracek tonight with what is being done to solve the problem and a look at another shortage that's looming.
When it comes to supply and demand, the former continues to outpace the latter at NSLC cannabis stores.
It's been hard to keep the supply and demand, definitely. I knew that was going to be a problem. I said that out the gate. I mean, I've seen this launch in other countries like this, and they've had the same struggles.
Both the NSLC and Cannabis NB say they're continuing to work with suppliers to try to improve the situation, a problem that persists across Canada.
You got to remember, this is all still brand new.
Sean King is watching legal cannabis in Canada closely as creative director with a North American cannabis lifestyle publishing company. He believes the supply will increase as licensed producers and retailers figure out what and how much consumers want. For him, the next big thing on the horizon is the legal sale of cannabis edibles.
But edibles may not be the only thing. It could be concentrated vapes, could be another thing that we'll see in the market, drinks, beverages, which you see in this U.S. all over the place, which aren't here yet, and that could be a whole new thing.
Legalization of cannabis edibles is set to happen by October this year. The NSLC says it can't comment on how it will handle that until the federal government approves its regulations. Right now, the government is seeking public input on a draft outline of what it's planning to do. It's currently legal to make edibles for yourself, but selling them isn't, not until federal regulations are approved. In the meantime, Nova Scotia's chief medical officer says there's work to do.
So we're going to have to do this work together very carefully about how do we continue to expand the legal market by adding retail edible products, but do it in a way that continues to have a strong emphasis on protecting public health and public safety.
One thing Sean King has noticed, less stigma around cannabis use now that it's legal and regulated. And he believes things are only going to get more interesting from here on in. And speaking of interesting, I heard many anecdotes from consumers today saying they saw a lot of cannabis being consumed at holiday parties or even being given as gifts this past year. But we won't know, Steve, how much cannabis was sold in the Maritimes over the holiday season until government-run retailers release their quarterly sales figures by the beginning of next month. Steve.
That should be interesting. Thanks, Heidi. CTV's Heidi Petracek in the news center tonight.
What time is that place?
Man,
10 a.m.?
so I just wanted to say you guys didn't get to hear the video, but it was really brutal. And these people, the newscasters and everybody, they treat cannabis like it was just invented the other day, like it's just brand new. Like, and they're like, oh, we're going to look at the statistics. We'll never know how much weed's being consumed until we look at the statistics from the LPs or whatever. Like, it's just, they don't realize they're not giving the consumers of news half of the important information about this plant. And they're just completely ignoring the illegal market and everything that's there, just paying attention to the legal market. It's
corporate media complicity in the corporate takeover of cannabis.
Yep.
Sorry. It's a corporate media complicity in the corporate takeover of cannabis.
Yes. Yes. You can say that again.
It's a corporate media complicity in the corporate takeover of cannabis.
Yes.
Those effers should go F themselves in the F and F hole, those effers.
Yes.
Yeah, say that 3 times fast.
F and Fers should F themselves in the F and F hole, effers.
That was pretty good. Ah, there you go. Smart ass. Yeah, so what was the other video? I actually forget what the other video was.
I didn't know about that video.
Shit. It was something. We're going to run it. You tell us what it was, chatters. Here it is.
Here it is.
Stagger along. The promise was that stores would be up and running by April with a view to putting a big dent in the black market for pot.
Well, that license lottery begins next week, and of the 24 or so licenses to be handed out, there could be very few given to Northern Ontario. CTV's Callum Rodia reports.
When the Ford government announced it would reverse the Liberal ban on private pot retail, vape shops seemed poised to get in on the action.
We were considering it for a little while.
The owners of Sudbury's Juice on the Loose thought selling cannabis was a natural fit. They already sell one age-restricted drug, why not another? But the government disagreed.
Vape legislation changed, and we can no longer deal in anything but in e-cigarette devices and accessories and e-liquid, stuff like that.
And it's not just vape stores that are feeling shut out of the new green gold rush. Of the 25 stores the province is initially licensing through a lottery system, only 2 are allocated for Northern Ontario. All of Northern Ontario, a huge piece of geography. So if you want to open a pot shop here in Sudbury or in North Bay, Timmins, the Sioux, you have maybe a slightly better chance of winning the license lottery as you do the actual lottery. When it comes to weed, it seems Northern Ontario isn't quite so open for business as the rest of the province.
2 legal retailers. This is completely unrealistic, but you know where their motivations are. The votes are down south.
But the government says it's less about demand than about supply.
There's only enough supply from the feds to outfit 25 facilities in all of Ontario, and so we wanted to make sure we have one in the northeast and one in the northwest.
And there's still the online option, but the store has been plagued by delays, mislabeled product, even a data breach, leading some to bypass retail altogether.
I've got an exhaust fan here, which has a filter, which keeps the smell to a minimum.
For about $1,000, those with a green thumb can grow their own green. You can't sell it, but you can share it. It's like home brewing for bud.
It'll be like, oh, have you tried some of my stuff? Have you tried some of my stuff? And then we can really kind of go towards this barter type thing that's kind of a real free market.
Which could become a reality for many users if the closest pot store ends up half a province away. Callum Rodia, CTV News, Sudbury.
Severance check.
So there you go.
I like that. We all say at the same time. Young Remo.
Young Remo.
We're just talking about what the CEOs, well, it wasn't CEOs, but 3 people got fired for dumping, 440 kilos into the legal market.
That's 14 years in prison, isn't it?
Not for
up
rich
to 14
people.
years in prison.
If you're rich and well connected, you just get fired.
Yeah, just
Do you
get
think
fired.
any underagers might have got a hold of that cannabis?
Put it on the legal market, and the reason why it came back on them is because it all tested bad, so it was coming back with all kinds of negative. Anyways, I didn't get.
That's right. If you're a greasy LP and you're gonna buy black market pot, make sure it's good black market pot.
How did they think they were going to get away with it?
Well, they had no weed, and that's what everybody. Then you have LPs calling LPs. Hey, you want
Maybe
to sell
it's
some
because.
weed? Well, why would we sell you weed when we don't have any ourselves?
Maybe they thought they'd get away with it because so many other LPs have done the same thing and gotten away with it. Maybe that's why.
A function of something called elite deviance. Have you heard of this?
A common practice.
It's a sociology,
better look into this.
That people who are rich and powerful think they can get
200
away with
kilos
anything.
of illegal weed.
Right.
Okay, fine,
Because they
Freddie.
can.
Freddie got it with
first year
200
sociology.
kilos.
Because usually they
I wanted
can.
to be 420.
Elite deviants. Google it.
Elite deviants.
Yeah.
So it was
420. It's
440
5. It's 520 already.
It was 200 kilos. Like I knew it was 400. It was 400.
400 kilos?
Yeah, it's 200 kilos.
Yeah.
But they sell that in what, a week?
Oh, that's overnight.
I don't even know.
Illegal selling good pot.
I
Well,
don't know what's selling
that was
marijuana.
this.
So, David, you had a great art show at High Score, the Blacklight art
Yeah.
show.
Did you ever get that online?
I think we did.
Maybe we could link to it.
I don't
I
know.
have a bunch of footage, but I haven't cut it.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe just can you? Okay. Well, anyway, we'll have to do another show.
I believe it's on social media, but maybe that's the extent of it.
What we'll do is we'll promote the next one that we're having at High Score, and we'll
Yes.
use photos from the last one to promote the next one.
Yes, and I got some video too, actually.
Yeah, it's really awesome. I just learned
got the little
that
spoon
there's two things that make Bob's art trippy, because I'm Bob's colorist now, right? Color
Yes.
all Bob's art. And one thing that makes Bob's art trippy is blacklight sensitive kind of neon colors. And the other thing is this glow in the dark paint. And when you combine the two, you can get glow in the dark, multicolor. Instead of just the greens of glow in the dark paint, you can get the reds and the blues and the yellows.
That's cool.
And so
And the blacklight charges the glow in the dark.
the black light charges up the glow in the dark, so
Strong.
it shines like its own light source. It's amazing. So you can have this night light that keeps your room lit in this wonderful glow, just long enough to get into bed and kind of say nice words to whoever you're in bed with, if you happen to be so lucky. And so these night lights are amazing because these night lights look like anything Bob draws, and I color. So we're making some really cool stuff these days, and I
Keep
hope
it
you
lit.
I hope you come and check out the next Blacklight art show that
Yeah.
Bob and I are doing. We'll keep you posted here at Cannabis Culture for more of those events.
That was really fun, and thanks for doing that.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun for us too.
Yes, High
Me
Score.
and Siggy.
And I believe some of the art is still up at High Score.
Yeah, you can check that out.
649 East Hastings Street in Vancouver. Retro Arcade and Vapor Lounge. Check it out if you haven't been there.
Yeah, we've left a few of our nicest paintings up there for you to check out.
Very cool. And one of me, actually.
Oh yeah, that is a good.
I just saw it
good
shared
looking one of
around,
you.
actually. Yes,
Yeah,
it is a
yeah.
good looking
Signy made you look really good looking.
Handsome.
She's magic.
I know it's not. Maybe it's not completely accurate to. I'm just-
Oh no, it's totally accurate.
I was gonna say.
You know, you can't tell how tall you are in the painting.
My heart glasses are what make it amazing.
It really, she captures your essence, is what she did.
It's absolutely wonderful and beautiful, and it is more handsome than I could imagine.
Check out Psychoactivist Studios on Facebook for more
Yeah,
of our
Sydney's
latest
awesome, man.
artwork coming out of our studio, our home studio.
Very talented artists,
Yeah.
artistes.
And the cutting edge of trippy artwork.
Yes.
There you go.
On the cutting edge. Yeah, how
And
many
on that
people are
note-
doing this blacklight stuff?
Only us. We're the
Yeah.
only ones that are doing it the way we're
Only
doing
ones
it.
in the universe?
Oh, I don't know anybody. They don't come out with multi-toned phosphorus paint. So I think we're the only ones doing it the way we're doing it.
It's cool.
It's very cool.
Cutting edge
And
stuff.
especially with that changing the color.
Dab it up.
Yeah.
That's pretty remarkable.
Reprints do not do it justice. You
Yeah.
have to see the original, which is one of its coolest things. Is the original will always be special. The other coolest thing is you can be like, hey, do you want to come over and smoke some pot and check out my blacklight art collection? Here, smoke this, and we'll turn out all the lights. It's in the bedroom, which is also really cool too. I like having an excuse to get high in my bedroom with all the lights off.
There you go.
It's good times.
Good times.
Good times. That's where the magic. That's where all the magic happens. Anyway, Psychoactivist Studios and Facebook, and keep watching CC for the latest on our blacklight art
We're gonna
projects.
go down and pick up one of your magazines, David.
Oh yeah, check out Vansterdam Comics too, because you're gonna love that as well. So many good things going on. And oh yeah, Signy also put out a coloring book.
Yes.
It's 420 Somewhere coloring book, which is also available here at CC, I believe.
Yes.
And
I have it sitting on my coffee table at home.
yeah, it's a pretty cool coloring book too. So you got to check out all those cool things.
Yeah, very cool stuff.
Alrighty, I'm gonna head out.
What's the website again?
There's no website. There's a
think I'm heading
Facebook
out, too.
page. Psychoactivist Studios.
Psychoactivist Studios.
Like
Facebook.
Google or face search.
Face Google it.
Face Google it.
Face Google.
Face Google that, and you'll find it.
Well, I think we're pretty much going to wrap the show up. We watched all the videos. We did our little segment. Oh, let's give out some seeds.
Some chem dog.
We're going to give out seeds.
Then the show will be seminal.
So,
What are the seeds?
Pot TV, Facebook, what?
Full name and address.
Full name and address to our Pot TV Facebook page. That's not the Cannabis Culture one, not the one you're watching this on now, but the Pot TV one. Holy moly.
The Pot TV one.
Pot TV one.
Not
And
the one you're watching.
We have
on
some
now.
Sunwest Genetics. Dun, 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 dun. This is the Chem Dog. Gotta love the Sea Dog. Where my dog's at? Right here.
Good old chem dog, one of my favorite strains.
Chem Dog. It's a little chemy, but I like it.
Well, I did chem for reunion, and I won third place at the Prairie Harvest Cup back in 2013.
Nice.
That was
Justin 23 is our wiener. Thank you. You are a wiener.
Justin 23.
Yep. We have our big winner, Sunwest Genetics winner, Chem Dog. Let's see that up close and personal again here.
Awesome, Steve.
There's seeds in there, we promise, in there
Oh,
somewhere.
nice. You got me like chugging.
Look at this
the
pack.
water going
Look
down
at this
the line.
crazy ass pack. Put a lot of effort into that.
Packaging.
That's a lot of packaging for seeds, but you know, it's got there's some special stuff about this pack. I believe that you can. Is this the one where you can dial in and see the whole lineage of the thing? Seed tracker technology. It is. See the bottom of this says it includes seed tracker technology. So what you do is on the inside of this thing, there's a number that comes with these seeds, and it shows you this whole entire lineage of where this thing comes from. So you can have that too. So you can see where this is actually originating.
I think next time, Jared,
To
I'm gonna bring
determine a bunch of data about the seeds themselves, the breeders, all that stuff. History of the strain, and a bunch of. It's cool data. I don't actually know. I haven't looked it up myself, but this is what I've been told by the people who make the package.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yep.
Well,
and that's there's some good people behind this stuff, and that's why they're sponsoring the
Let's
show.
test some seeds to see the water activity inside those seeds next week.
Water activity.
Hey, Neil.
In the seeds, yeah. You got to win the pack, then, John.
Gotta win the pack.
Should be none.
You know what? I think next week I'm gonna bring in some LP weed. We can choose from like maybe 5 or 6, and we'll start taking a look at it. And then what I'm gonna do next time is I'm gonna purchase maybe like 3 of the same strain from the same LP, and then I want to test all 3 and see if we have any consistency in that. And let's start get a better look at this cannabis that they're trying to push down our throats, right? So
it's a good plan.
You know what? They can at least give it to us a quality, right? So
Yep.
gotta start somewhere.
Yep. No, agreed. And hopefully there'll be some good LPs soon. You know, I'm wondering, waiting.
Well, the whole thing is as the system moves forward, and as it's going to start to be fresher. Won't be sitting around for the last year waiting for legalization, because now that they've ran out of weed, maybe it's crop meat. It'll be fresher. We'll get more.
Well, there's going to be a lot of micro cultivators,
right? So, and that's the whole thing. Now,
hopefully that weed will be
good. Thing.
good.
We haven't even talked about.
We
got
to get everybody licensed.
Trying to get all these. I'll bring in all the documentation next week of all the 4 different companies that are charging from $90,000 to $25,000 to $50,000 to try and help people become a micro license processor.
And how easy is that
There's
process?
now companies out there from CCIC to Broken. There's one from West
There's
Coast.
a bunch of them.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. But
yeah,
I mean, I do have all the information from all 4 that are actually available right now because they've all approached me.
And the thing is, I mean, man, people do need help getting in touch with people who can do that for them, because it's not an easy process necessarily.
Grow really, really good medicine, and if they still want to keep growing that and they're scared that they're going to get shut down and they can't produce for people, you still want to be able to supply, this might be a way for them to be able to keep on the legal market at the same time supply. But now you got to choose what company, where this one's actually harvesting for tweed page for growers, this one's harvesting for this company, this one's harvesting for CanMart, and so there's all these different companies that are trying to become those what we say Walmart of craft growers for Canada too.
Right. Yeah. Because you have to go through. See,
you have to go through companies.
You got to go through one of the larger
LP.
LPs who has a sales license. Exactly. But you can also get a sales license.
I don't think I think we'll start seeing that like the liquor industry. It took 30-40 years to start getting sales licenses.
No. You can get a sales license as long as you still have a facility like an LP. So you can get a sales license, but you just have a little office sitting on some land, and you get township approval for that. You can do that. But why go to that length? If you're going to get an LP license, you might as well have a fucking LP. You might as well, if you're going to have the license. Yeah, well, you might as well get a facility and grow weed too, because
funded to do that through all these companies turning into LPs that are becoming public trading. Right? So.
But there's a couple provinces, or actually just one, Saskatchewan, that is now this is what I've heard. I haven't actually seen this verified, but it's my understanding from Jeff from Skunk Funk told me this one, that they just passed something that would allow the micro cultivators to sell directly to the dispensaries. So bypassing the provincial government's warehousing of things.
Well, that's one form. I'd like to see that happen.
We got to double check that just to verify that, because I haven't. That's not independently verified, but
it's called Jeff.
Yeah, we should probably independently verify it. But that would be good if that's true.
Yeah.
Because then if they can do it, then the other provinces should be able to do it as well. We need to be able to subvert this government warehousing of weed, putting it into plastic packages and having it sit around forever. It's fucking ridiculous.
More to come with that. I'm packaging.
Johnny. Medtainer, get it through.
Well, you know what I'm saying? We're packaging, we're pressing, we're lighting and grinding away into 2019.
There you go. Squishing and squeezing.
Getting it all going.
Squishing and pressing. We're getting it all going because we got a lot going on for 2019. It really comes down to be able to get the proper products to the patients and to the people. And hopefully over time we'll be able to kind of get...
You can say that 3 times fast.
Not 3 times fast, 3 times fast.
Okay, wrap it. All right. Okay, Pod TV. Well, we're going to hit the road. It was a good, fun, short show today. It was only an hour and a half. Not bad. We actually wrapped it up in less than 3 hours. And we'll be back.
Ran out in 1 minute, so it's perfect.
Perfect.
I can run out of the door and get.
You can run out like you're parking.
I'm out of here.
Yeah, and Mr. Cookie, I'm sure will be back again next week or two. Johnny, what about you?
On Friday.
You're back next week too? Nice, Johnny's back.
2019 is a whole new year. It's a whole new way. We got a lot of stuff. There's a lot of work to be done in 2019 for education and what's going on with cannabis in Canada. And you know what? I mean, I'm not missing this one.
There you
I
go.
waited my whole life for this.
For 2019?
You know what?
Yeah.
Well, for what we're about to embark on and what we have, there's a lot of work to do, like you said. There's
a hell of a lot of work to do.
We fought hard to get where we are, but there's still a lot more fighting to do. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's like moving forward, right?
To infinity and beyond. All right. Love you, Pod TV. We'll see you next Friday, and watch all the fun shows on Pod TV at pod.tv.
Yes.
A lot of fun through the week. Right. Everything you need. And the weed.
And the weed.
Drug peace.
Peace.
Brought to you by SunWest Genetics.
You guys ready to start the show? 24 years old. That's the worst age to lose your virginity at. That's my current age. That's not good.
What are you high nose edibles because they're perfect now. Edibles are fucking perfect now because you go to a store, in that store you're like, hey, how many milligrams is this edible? And the person's like, oh, it's like 200 milligrams for that chocolate bar. When I was in high school, that didn't exist. You would buy edibles from your friends and you'd be like, how many milligrams is that? And they'd be like, 4 years of shake. That's how many milligrams.